Hey friends, welcome back to Channel Surf. I'm Jazz, and if this is your first time here, I watch a shit ton of TV. And one of the shows that I have loved watching for so much of my life is Vanderpump Rules. And if you are aware of what's going on with Vanderpump Rules right now, then you know we have a completely new cast for season 12. And I'm unfortunately just not connecting, but I had to bring on the expert in Vanderpump Rules. Okay. This person has been reviewing and recapping VPR since the early days. Okay. Many years without you guys trying to ask us what our ages are. But without further ado, let's welcome Vanderpump Robs. Hello.
Hello, happy to be here,
Oh gosh.
Jazz. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited to have you. I just want to tell my subscribers how we know each other because it's actually very cool. We used to work at SiriusXM together.
Yeah.
And then my subscribers, because most of them are kind of here because I have been on Reality with the King a couple of different
hmm
times. So Rob and we were working at SiriusXM together. He saw that I had like developed and was EPing this podcast about reality TV. We connected. We just had like a Zoom chat just about our love for reality TV. And
Yeah.
then that's when he told me, like, yeah, I literally am the Vanderpump Rules guy. Like,
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
Vanderpump Rob. So we've been connected since then. And that was what, 2020, 2021? No, that was
It was a while. It's
yeah,
been
it
a
was like
minute.
2021 or
Yeah.
22 or something like that. But
Definitely when we were all like, oh yeah, Zoom.
yeah.
Zoom is a thing.
That was the only way we were like connect,
Yeah.
or the main way we were connecting with each other. Now I'm so sick. Like, I actually hate the fact that I have to do these things virtually because I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to be in the room with you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really thrilled to be here because I think it was also after that Zoom where we both kind of emailed each other and we're like, "Oh, you're leaving too? So am I." Okay, well, let's connect later when we land on our feet.
Yes, we both ended up leaving, off to greener pastures.
Yes. Yes.
But really, I don't want to speak for you. I thoroughly enjoyed my time at SiriusXM, so I certainly was not leaving on a sour note at all.
Oh no. I mean, it's never that. It's always just I have a new opportunity.
Exactly. So we're here to talk all things reboot, recast of Vanderpump Rules season 2. I'm not feeling it, Rob. How
Oh,
do you feel though?
that's too bad because I am feeling it. But I'm not no judgment. I'm not going to judge you for not feeling it. I will judge anonymous people on the internet who have a take that's really bad, but
Mm.
I don't know them, so it's easier to judge. Um, I think that, and look, we can get into the nitty gritty of it, but let me just give you a quick example.
Please.
I went to Sir last night because there was a watch party, right?
Yes.
They do it every night the show airs, and it's excellent because you get to watch the East Coast feed. So if you get there, you can see it, without having to pay for cable, the early times. And what ended up actually being more of a draw once I walked through the door was Kendra Wilkinson had an event going on in the back room,
Oh.
packed. And Guillermo comes up to me because I recently interviewed him. And he's Rob, come to this party, come to this party. So I'm like in a band t-shirt and a ball cap, and like everyone's in like gowns and looking fancy as hell. And then Jason and Chris are there, two of the new cast
Yeah.
members, the guys who were on Dated and Related. Um,
Yes. The OnlyFans guys.
yes, the OnlyFans guys, which good storylines of that this season if you haven't fallen off yet. But they were incredible to talk to, and you could tell like there was a lot of like fan girls there for them. But when I was just like shooting the shit with you, both of them, they like, hey, what's your name, looked me up, followed me on Instagram, did all of the like stuff you don't have to do.
Right.
And the co-host of Vanderpump Robs, my co-host Kate, lives in Miami, and Jason was even like, let's shoot a video for your co-host since you couldn't be here tonight. So like
Oh.
they're all in on
Yeah.
being on the show, and that's initially a good experience knowing that we're halfway through the season at the time of this recording.
Yeah, and I don't doubt that they are really cool people. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, they seem like a bunch of just like young kids who are trying to figure it out. And that's something that I'll never take away. And that's actually, though, I think the reason why I'm just not connecting with it,
hmm
because I think I'm just not in that space anymore.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm in my 30s. So
Sure. What's that? I don't know. I can't wait to be in my
right.
30s.
You've never
No.
experienced it yet. Don't grow up, kids.
But I think you're right. I think there is a level of the hustle grind, making it in LA is different for people in their 20s now
Mhm.
than it was when Vanderpump Rules started. And that's a really, casual way of doing it. I think people end up letting comparison be the thief of joy, which
Yes.
is the phrase I keep hearing a lot, because they either say, well, it's just not for the first season. And well, of course not. Like
Mhm.
we have the luxury of time if we keep trying to say it's not like something else. But additionally, you can go one step further if you are already not into it or wasn't into the idea when it was announced or anything like that, to say, well, they're just rehashing old storylines. And that's actually incredibly false. Like
Right.
the people can date and fight and have trouble at work, and just because those similar things happened
Mhm.
in the first 11 seasons doesn't mean it's a rehash of a quote storyline. So I encourage people to kind of like let it cook a
Yeah.
little bit, because
Yeah.
it needs to bake, quite frankly.
I agree, and I think that's a great point to bring up because it is very easy to just say, "Okay, well, they are trying to be like OG Vanderpump because they have this storyline and it's the couples and like the couple
Mhm.
that you know is toxic and probably won't last that long." But that's also just a hallmark of being in your 20s. Like who wasn't in a
Exactly.
toxic relationship in their 20s? Like I had a few of them back then. So I
Yeah.
think if you put any group of, 20 somethings, early 30 somethings, that's just their reality right now.
Yeah. I
And like
mean,
yeah,
why would you not be a 20 something living like a 20 something?
exactly.
And some of these people, I mean, I'm sure all of them watched Vanderpump Rules or at least tuned in. So they're trying to play the part, but just another day, like I think right the week before episode 1 came out, I went in to set up the interview with Guillermo, and he introduced me to Venus. And Venus and I ended up talking for a while because, he knows I do the podcast, but I also have like other projects in the works. And we just like, I was like, this is like off the record. And look, I won't say exactly what we were talking about, but Venus was very candid with me. And it seems like Venus knows what it takes to be on the show, but also won't be more than, right? Like
Okay.
I'm going to bring authentically myself to this. And he said, this is one thing I do feel comfortable saying. He said that he didn't think anyone else did anything but exactly who they are on that
Oh,
show. Yeah.
interesting. Okay. I think that's good to know because there are certainly some characters that when I watch the premiere episode and then, subsequent episodes where I'm like, I feel like they are trying to play to a type, like a reality TV type, which,
Hmm.
we've had reality TV for so long now. We've had this formula, this like kind of docu series for a really long time as well. So it's impossible to believe that people would come on a show and not have an
Oh
inspiration in
yeah.
mind,
Absolutely.
right?
Well, and I think that's part of the young cast too,
Yes,
right? Like they may not like consciously be doing it, but they've grown up with this in a way that those of us who might be a little bit more seasoned
right.
did not. So I think that it's not like a planned thing. It's
Yeah.
just like we said earlier, like Jason and Chris are on OnlyFans and no one bats an eye. Well, except for Angelica, who seems like she needs to shame them for that for some reason. It's very
Wait for the
odd.
ick, but I don't think it's the OnlyFans thing. I think it's the penis pump. I think she's really skeeved out by the penis pump, and the OnlyFans thing is just like she's able to compound that and use that in addition to. But I think it was the penis pump.
But I do think she's the most egregious on it being part of the subconscious
Yeah.
to bring it to the cameras, because Lisa Vanderpump is not your friend, Angelica. You can't be
Yeah.
gossiping with her about her employees and think she's going to take your side. Lisa Vanderpump will, I think, never take a woman's side on the show. I think that's we've got plenty of evidence, 11 years of that. But that being said, it's the blindness of some of this new cast that's also what makes it good.
Yeah.
But, my co-host Kate said something I think was very astute. And I think if anyone's like on the fence, this might be just a way to look at it, right? Early Vanderpump Rules, yes, you had your Kristen, your Katie, your Stassi. Katie was nothing in the first season. She
No.
was background. So was Tom Schwartz for the most part.
Mhm.
But yeah, there was a lot of high drama between Stassi, Kristen, Sandoval, Jax.
Mhm.
But even Jax was brought in for the show. Stassi was like, we should hire Jax. He's my boyfriend because we're about to film. That's the part that's not said.
Yeah.
Because we're about to film. Now, go seasons later, James comes in, Lala comes in. People that aren't like getting a job and then being on the show.
Very true.
It's all planned. So we go into season 12. Well, let's not beat around the bush. We have a core group of people that have worked here for at least 3 years or so, some of them a
Mhm.
little bit longer. And they have their relationship dynamics. Kim, Marcus, Natalie, Demi, right?
Yeah.
And then we've got like a whole of people. Like, who do we have? I guess Venus is in that category too. But
Yeah.
then it's like, well, we can't just have one couple and then some women, right?
Right.
And then they're like friend. We need to have some people also dating because that's like a staple of this show.
Sure.
Why not bring in professional reality TV daters with Chris
And
and
Jason.
Jason?
Yeah.
So it's not like they're not going to hide. They know how to do it. And then we bring in a couple extra people like Audrey and Angelica who are
Mhm.
single, and we cast the new single people as well. And I think that creates an interesting dynamic. Maybe it's not truly authentic in the sense that like they didn't actually work there
Sure.
until the show, but I think it creates a dynamic that really works. And I will say this, I can't speak on it, but I just watched the screener for episode 7,
Mhm.
and since episode 5, I keep saying this is the best episode yet. This is the best episode yet. This
Oh,
is
so
the
it
best.
it 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 gets better.
I just keep there was like I think episode 2 I was kind of like so on.
Sure. Yeah,
But
same.
then like ever since 4 or 5 I keep being like this might be the best one of the season.
That's so okay. I wanna touch on something you said before we even get back to
Sure,
the
sure.
episodes. But something that you said about the fact that they kind of hired these people on. You had this
Mhm.
core people who have been working at VPR, and then you hire some other people to just round out the group. Now, that is not uncommon in reality TV. I'm a
Yeah,
huge Housewives fan. At this point, we're going into our 20th year of Housewives. On the Housewives, most of the scenarios that they find themselves in are not really like authentic scenarios. They're
yeah,
produced. So it's like we will put you guys all on this trip together, knowing that there are these pre-existing issues, but we're gonna lock you guys in an RV and make you drive up, in Utah. Of course, drama is going to ensue. So that like creating the scenarios or the situations for the drama and the chaos to start is not uncommon. I don't know why. I don't know why we're having such a hard time with it with Vanderpump Rules. I actually think you bringing that up makes me realize that there's a huge double standard with it because at this point audiences know that that is how things work. So
yeah.
why are we so like offended that they're doing it with VPR?
They don't like change, and I'm saying
Yeah.
they as in like just a huge blanket
Yep.
statement. I know
Mhm.
there's gray areas here,
Mhm.
but it is such a change. They don't like that these people they've grown to love and care for and have parasocial relationships with are no longer on the show that they think is the best thing ever.
Right.
And yeah, that kind of sucks, but why not why not be optimistic? And I think this is a bigger picture of like, especially Bravo fan culture in general,
Mhm.
of we're not really looking for the positives and stuff
No,
ever.
we all are critics. All of
Yeah.
us are TV critics, and
Yeah.
we are just here to talk shit about everything. And you also have to think about, different moments in time, right?
Hmm.
OG Vanderpump, that was just a moment in time because even by the time the OG cast or what was left of the OG cast, by the time we get to season 11, that show had devolved into something that we didn't really like that much
Yep.
either. So it's you're clamoring for familiarity, but we were all complaining about that last season of well, not, maybe not you, but a lot of
Oh
people were
no, I
complaining
did
about
not
it.
like season 11.
Yeah, yeah. And let me ask you though, is it true? So this is what I heard through the grapevine, but as a Vanderpump historian, maybe you can clear this up for me. So I heard that this cast that we have right now for season 12 was actually supposed to be the season 11 cast, but Scandival happened. And so they did season 11 to show us the fallout of that. And then that's why this was pushed. Is that true?
I have not gotten that confirmed
Okay.
100%, but I have also heard that, and it would make sense,
It would.
right?
It would.
Season 10 felt like the end. There all of these people were started working at Sir around the time they would have been filming season 11.
Hmm.
All of that makes complete sense to me. And, you know, to me, I don't care, right? Like season 11, I think they there was just a big whiff on what showrunners thought people wanted
Yes,
versus what they did. And also, let's be fair, fans don't know what they want.
that's
They
true.
There's a lot of people out there who think a show about something about her where no one argues and it's just two people like successfully running a sandwich shop would be in any way compelling. And
Right.
as much as I want Katie and Ariana to stay on top and stay successful, that's not an exciting show.
No, not
So
at all.
that's a PBS documentary, you know? So if people are refusing to film, if quite frankly it's getting too expensive to have Tom Sandoval and Lala Kent and Sheena Shea on the
Yeah.
screens,
Hmm.
bring in some people that'll do it for a fraction of price. I'm not saying it's right. Like I want people to get paid, but
Sure.
if we can bring in young people and it continues the show, I'm here for it because especially like this OnlyFans stuff is only getting wilder and wilder.
And that's also something to me that is such a sign of the times.
Yes.
Like having an OnlyFans, talking openly about it, like it being a part of your storyline, and then us as the audience being like, this is fascinating. A decade ago, we would be like, oh, this is a scandal.
This is a scandal. These
Yeah.
let's we would be Angelica, like judging
Yep.
them for being bad. You are bad because
Yes.
you've gotten OnlyFans. And now it's well, do what you got to do to pay the bills, right? We're all doing something. Shane Davis is in vertical drama box shorts. Those are hilarious, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you're getting on an MCU movie anytime soon by doing that.
Exactly. And also with this cast, I wanted to ask you, so you brought up to kind of bringing in some younger people. That's obviously a play to introduce Vanderpump to a younger audience, right? More like younger millennial Gen Z audience. But it doesn't seem like people are tuning in. And I don't know, I don't keep up with the ratings week by week, but I did see, I want to say last week that they experienced a series low in
Mhm.
the demo. And so it doesn't seem like it's super successful for the young people either. Do you have any thoughts about why that is?
I think that Bravo is not necessary, and this is purely anecdotal, but
Yeah,
I think that Bravo is not a network that knows how to reach the
younger.
youth, right?
Mhm. Yep.
It knows how to reach millennial and older,
Mhm.
and because that's when they like became who they are.
Yes.
And it's going to be a struggle for them to lock into this younger group because also they're not appointment viewers, right? Like I think most millennials are binging stuff after it's already been out. So I think that we are going to see a series low because we're also seeing series lows on a lot of shows that are in their first seasons. Like I don't think the Valley Persian style is doing as well as people think
Right.
it would be, but it's also good. Shaws of Sunset is quite frankly a wild show that I'm surprised stopped being on the air. So now that
Mhm.
they have their spinoff, I would think that people would be excited about that, but I'm not hearing much about it.
Me either. Me either.
So it's also the fact that people want to talk about how much they either or dislike Vanderpump Rules, but aren't really even talking about the Valley Persian style. I think speaks to a bigger systemic thing as well.
Mhm.
But VPR is still in people's news feeds, and whether or not they're tuning in, they're getting clicks, and that I think is just as important at the end of the day.
Yeah. And speaking of the Valley, did you follow were you excited for the regular Valley, not Persian style, but
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Chad Follow?
I was so excited, and then
Yeah.
it really let me down.
Oh, yeah. Do you
I
think it got too dark with Jax or what? What let you down?
Well, I think the first season let me down because everyone ostracized Kristen Doty
Mhm.
because she's a truth teller and an empath, and they didn't like to hear it.
Everyone's an empath these
Yeah,
days.
and so the person I wanted to watch the show for was Kristen, well, and season 1 and Jax because he's a maniac,
Sure.
but, like, Kristen had been redeemed, like, she had been proven right through all of these years, and then she pissed off some people, and we just got her, like, walking her dog for half of the season, and that was no fun, and then season 2, it got really dark with Jax and
Mhm.
Brittany,
Mhm.
but I don't think they portrayed the show in a way that I don't think it was produced in a way that did justice to the severity of things actually going on. And I
Oh.
think that pairs well with how bad season 11 of Vanderpump Rules actually was as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
The production thought they could put this thing into a vehicle to show people, and it just didn't work. I would have rather have seen in season 2 a little bit more breaking of, and we always say this, breaking of the fourth wall, but
Mhm.
realistically, not videos of Jax doing, today I'm in rehab and this have
Yeah.
no, have Brittany talking to production when Jax is screaming at her at the house. Show us that there is resources for her.
Yeah.
And this is a complete side note, but and it has nothing to do with the Jax thing. I think that Jax is horrible, treated her terribly.
Mhm.
But through the way people talk about Brittany on the show as well, I think that Brittany's gonna have a villain arc in the next season because a friend to all is a friend to none.
Man, it's hard being
Mm.
Switzerland. It's
Yeah.
very hard being Switzerland, and then you have Lar coming in as a
Oof.
full-timer, so I think that's gonna be really interesting. Because for everything that people can say about Lala, she is the person to maybe call Brittany on being a
Yep.
friend to everyone, right? And that was kind of Sheena's problem. That was a big reason why so many people had a problem with Sheena because she was just best friends with
Mhm.
everybody. So it is gonna get interesting. And for what it's worth, I think there is a lot of protection that just the men of Bravo get because
Yeah.
I
Like,
recently covered Southern Charm, and me and Josh were talking, and he's like, yeah, the show is about the men on Southern Charm, and
yeah.
they are god awful.
Have you ever seen the 8-minute, like, sizzle of Southern Charm that they, like, sold the show on?
No, but Josh was telling me about that because it was like gonna be called Southern Gentleman or something like
Yes.
that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I have
And it
not watched that.
I mean, I have such a love-hate relationship with Southern Charm because, you know, I think we can all point to this that, like, halfway through, it became a different show too,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Yes, it's
Mhm.
always about the boys, but once people started realizing, like, I think we're having a skewed view on the South here a little bit, it
Mhm.
became a different show. And now it's like essentially the Craig show, and Craig is a big dork. And I cannot understand why he has any fans at all. But
I don't get it either,
I
and
get,
I'm telling you, it's pretty privilege. Craig is an attractive
mm,
man, and I think that because most of the people who like it, well, most of the people who watch Southern Charm, I think, are probably women, right? They're probably over
sure,
indexed on women. He has a huge female fan base, and I'm just like, anybody now, I'm not a true blue Southern Charmer, okay? I started watching Southern Charm on accident. One day I was watching a show, it went off, and then Southern Charm season 10 came on, and I was just like, okay, I'll sit for it.
sure,
Ended
sure.
up watching the whole 10th season. I liked it. So I don't have any of the background, but my first introduction to Craig Conover was Winter House when he came in
Same, me
drunk.
too.
I was like, this is an asshole. I hate
Yep.
him. I never want to see him again. And then Paige started dating him, and I was just like, ooh, side eye to you, Miss
Oof,
Girl.
yeah.
Oh no, she was already dating him on Winter House.
On
My
Winter
bad.
House, but also I thought you were cool,
You
and
know, you
now I
know,
see this.
yeah, he's so my first experience with him, I was like, he is an asshole. I don't like him. And then yeah, so now that I'm watching Southern Charm, I'm just like, I'm with you, Rob. I don't understand how anyone can say they are a fan of Craig.
It's tough. It is so tough. I mean, I guess I get it, but I will not support it. I'll put it that way.
You know what? For the sake of not being super judgmental, I like that. That is a safe resolution there. So let's jump back into VPR though, really quick, because I want to talk about. I don't want to be so negative about I
Sure.
keep wanting to say these kids,
The
and that's
youth.
of the youth, but it's aging me even more. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm like the kids and Chris, every chance he gets, he lets us know that he is 31 years old.
Yes,
Okay,
he is
so
31. He's
yeah,
31, which means he's 35, but
right.
he's 31.
That's his industry age is
Yeah,
31,
yeah.
but he actually, is a stepfather of 6.
Yeah.
What is working for this new cast? And we might have, it might be this might be a redundant question, but if you could just give like a couple of reasons why this is kind of working.
Well, I think what's working is like how I said there's kind of the two camps. Once we learned about the two different groups that are making up this ensemble,
Mm,
when we got like everyone's backstory after a couple of episodes, we really started seeing how they mesh together well.
yeah.
And I think that these people are open to working at Sir and being on this show. And the
Mhm.
fact that they are willing to dive in completely and be open and take lunches with each other, even though they don't know each other very well, that's awesome. Also, I do have to point out that Shane Davis, Shane Davis, being like an openly sober AA member and not because he like got drunk at Sir and Lisa forced him to, is I think a unique take. Now people can I've seen all over like extrapolate like, oh, but he goes on dates with people who drink
Yeah,
alcohol.
I've been seeing that they're
Well,
calling him a creep.
but that's for that is all speculation at this point,
True,
right?
very true. Yep.
And I think that he could very well be a creep. I mean, he's a trauma dumper. He admits that.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing is a person who struggles with substances, goes to meetings, is a support coach for people who are in sobriety, and likes to have a good time, and is also very stupid, which is a great combination. He's very,
We
and
love that.
I mean that endearingly,
Sure,
right?
complimentary.
Yes. I think Angelica had no idea what she was in for joining this show.
Mhm.
Potentially didn't watch any Vanderpump Rules going into it. And this is a gig because she's also been on some other like Landman and like as extras and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And I think she was going to be able to do what she wanted and is getting a quick lesson in no, this is a show where we fight with each other.
Yes,
And
yes.
that works
Yeah,
very well. And Demi being like the new Peter essentially is a manager point, not in it too much, but
right.
in it just enough to be able to be friends, but also fight with people because I'm like recently a manager. That's realistic. And we've already talked about Chris and Jason. Jason is like the sidekick dummy little brother to Chris is like a little bit like a fraction more mature than him. And
Yeah.
now that Chris and Audrey have a blossoming relationship, I'm excited to see that crash and burn.
Oh, because it's gonna. You take the oldest person on the cast or admittedly the oldest person on the
Yes,
cast, and the young isn't Audrey's the youngest one on the cast,
I
right? She got
believe
like
so.
a
She just turned 22 on the show.
22. Jesus. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that is going to crash and burn. Absolutely. Like you said. I think the thing with Shane that I find now again, the creepy allegations aside, him being sober on the show and coming in sober, like you said, he is not someone that had a crash out and then they had to talk him into it. Coming in sober is also a sign of the times because if
Yep.
you've been reading Gen Z, they are not drinking like that.
Yep.
Like alcohol brands are in a frenzy because the young people are just not going out and they're not drinking. A lot of people are sober. Even in our generation, millennials, a lot of us are sober curious and stuff.
Yep.
So I think him coming in sober is also a sign of the times, which I think is really cool to see. It's
Yeah,
very cool.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, we can extrapolate on what we think might be the stuff outside of the edit, but what we see
Yeah.
is this is what's going on with Shane. Although Jax totally asked Shane to get a photo together on and post it the other day when they were at the gym. Like
Really.
Jax went to the gym that Shane does personal training at,
Uh-huh.
and you look, I don't know this for a fact, but you just know Jack said you should get a picture of both of us and post it since I
Yep.
used to be on. I I do think I should touch on the Kim and Marcus of it all. They're the fighting couple.
Yes.
Marcus is a drunk mess and jealous. Kim, not necessarily a drunk mess, but
But also jealous.
jealous,
Yep.
jealous to all hell. And I kind of like that Venus is like floating in the friend groups. Like, it's so weird that Venus is like, Kim comes to me when when she has a problem with Marcus. Marcus comes to me when he has a problem with Kim. And when I stand up for myself and say this is kind of a unhealthy relationship between the three of us, I'm the bad guy.
And then
Like,
it's also like I was questioning in the beginning. I'm like, does Venus actually like Kim? Because
yeah,
there was a scene when like she was venting to him, and then the very next scene he's like kind of talking shit about her. So I'm like, but I'm also like, that also happens in your 20s. Everybody's fake. They all
yeah.
talk shit about each other.
My unhinged fan theory is that they might have had a tryst, the three of them, and maybe Kim was left out.
Thank you, because I was going to bring that up. I was going to let you talk about them as a couple, and then I was literally going to go into it. I think, and I don't want to say I'm excited for this storyline as if we should exploit it. But
Sure.
when I watched the first 2 episodes, I said Marcus is struggling with his sexuality. Like I think he is very curious and almost reminds me of James Kennedy a little
Yeah,
bit.
I mean, Marcus, there is a big discussion in those first episodes about Marcus sending Venus photos.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
look, you're either extremely comfortable or something's being left out of the story here.
Yeah, and he
And
kisses him at some point this season.
yes, and that's fine. That's fine. But it is something that we haven't seen on Vanderpump Rules before, which might be good for getting another season. I don't know.
It could work, and when I just brought up James Kennedy, I meant in the way that people were
The
suspecting things
rumors,
with him and Logan. Yeah, not that James Kennedy actually
yeah,
did anything or said anything. So
we
I was
don't
being
know any.
accurate.
Actually, he's vehemently denied it, which is
Yeah,
the opposite of what Logan said. But
exactly. So it's a very, a very gray area there. But yeah, that was coming into it when I was trying to kind of pick out the things that I'm like, I'm being really unfair to these people. So let me find some things that I am kind of interested in. So and that was like really high at the top of my list
mhm,
because yet, like you mentioned, that has not happened yet. And if he came out and was like, hey, I like Venus and Kim, or I'm bisexual, whatever, not saying he's gonna do that. That's also, I think they're very modern. This is a very
yes,
modern cast,
very
right?
much.
For lack of better words.
Well,
What you think
going
about
back to Chris and Jason, they're very I know someone who is a fan of their content, and they are very modern.
that? Oh. Are you is it the way that I'm thinking?
uh, hmm. Tune in to the next couple episodes. We'll put it that way.
I will you're selling me. You are selling me. I
Well,
know.
and I just wanted to say one more thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
One of my favorite shows on Bravo is Southern Hospitality, and a lot of people equate that
Really?
to early Vanderpump, right? I'm getting
That's what
those
I heard.
vibes. But
Mhm.
no one said that the first season of Southern Hospitality, and they really didn't even say it the second season of Southern Hospitality. I only started hearing that in the third season of Southern Hospitality. So if it took 3 seasons of Southern Hospitality for people to even really start getting it on their radar,
Yeah.
far be it from us to say that Vanderpump Rules season 12 is a quote failure.
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of things need time to cook,
Mhm.
right? And your first season on the show, they are also coming in with these huge, dare I say, impossible shoes to fill.
Yeah, absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
a lot of pressure. They have to get comfortable being on camera. They have to become comfortable with each other. They have to get comfortable with a fandom that is like at every turn wanting to hate on them. So this
Mhm.
is a lot of pressure for a group. And I do agree with you, regardless of if like I'm going to tune in or not. I think they do deserve at least another season to be able to watch this one back, see what they did wrong, evolve a little bit as people, and then come back for a second season and we can see like what happens with that. But I mean, we watched our OG VPR. We watched them be a mess for. I mean, a lot of them were still a mess when they went off air. If we're
Exactly.
keeping it
You could
real.
argue only got worse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I agree with you. I think they do need another season. So, but there have been some people who were saying that this cast could work had they just spun this off into a completely different show. So, not called it Vanderpump Rules, but something else. Where do you stand on that? Do you think they should have kept this title?
I think it's really easy to say that, but in actuality, like think of the costs that go into like developing a new show,
Yeah.
right? Then you have to like sell people on this idea because what's the first argument? Oh, it's just Vanderpump Rules with a new name,
Yep.
right? Like that it's there's no winning there. I think
Yeah.
the actual like the pros outweigh the cons in saying in keeping it Vanderpump Rules because it's Lisa's show whether we want it or not. So
Mhm.
if we have another show, even if she cast them all and they work at Tom Tom, right? Like it's still Vanderpump Rules, and
Yeah.
it's easier to just keep everything that works, title, they all, the ecosystem of a restaurant, and fit in new cast members than it is to like totally give a next gen NYC treatment that is essentially going to be Vanderpump Rules.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you. I like that too. Do you have any favorites on this cast so far?
Audrey. I think
Okay.
Audrey's awesome. I like Venus because he was cool to me in real life, but also a good character on the
Yeah.
show. I like Shane Davis just because he's a cartoon character.
Yes,
You know, it's
literally.
ridiculous. And I will say after meeting Jason and Chris last night, I've been kind of harsh on them on the podcast, but of course, I'm over the top on the podcast, but they were so kind to me that I have to at least give a shout out that in real life they were cool. Here's who I want to see more of on the show though. DJ McKenna. We've seen her just a couple of blips because she's the person Marcus had. Lisa's like, you
Right.
can DJ, but you have to DJ with McKenna. And
Yeah.
I've seen her in real life at Sir a few times. Oh, I can't even believe I said it. Natalie. Natalie is awesome.
Yeah.
Natalie is like the star of this show, and she needs more of a spotlight on her.
I'm sorry. I know we have to let I know we have to let this cast stand on their own, but immediately watching Natalie, I was like, that is the Stassi of this group,
If you have to compare, that is the case.
right?
She knows how to play ball, and I don't
Mhm.
even think she's trying. Like, I
Yeah.
think she is. This is Natalie.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is her, and that's great for
Yeah.
TV. Just like Stassi. This is Stassi, and she's great. And quite frankly, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, Sheena. Sheena, whether you love
Thank
her or hate
you.
her, she is amazing television.
Yeah, that's always been my unpopular opinion. I've never disliked Sheena in the way that the fandom has over the years. Like I've felt bad for her actually because I'm like, this is a person that seems like she just wants to get along with everyone, and it does bite her in the ass a lot. But I never disliked Sheena. But with VPR. I think that was the beauty of that cast is like they were all allowed to be very flawed people. Like you would have, one season, hell, one episode where you might really like someone, and by the next episode, you cannot stand them. And I think that's the other sad thing that a lot of new reality stars are bumping up against is just this very binary way
Yep.
of thinking that audiences have adopted. So it's like you are either really bad or you're really good, right? So you only
Yep.
can fall into one of these two buckets, and that's going to be how I feel about you for the duration of your time on television, and that's really unfair.
Well, and the especially after Scandival, the fact that people want to be judge and jury about everything that happens. Not even like
Yeah,
moral equivalency, but just like no matter what happens on show, I have to have this take and I cannot sway from this take. And if I do, that means I'm fake. And it's like just watch the show. Just
just watch
like
the show.
if your opinion changes, it changes, you know?
Yeah, but let's play a little game before I let you get out of here, Vanderpump
Okay.
Pops. Okay, so this game is called Dinner Party Guest List. I play this with everyone who comes onto Channel Surf. So you are throwing your dream dinner party. The budget, you have no budget. Okay, you can spend what you want.
Okay.
Actually, no, we're gonna have this dinner party at Sir. You're having a dinner party at Sir, and please have extra goat cheese balls because I'm gonna find my way there. I love the goat cheese balls.
Oh
So
yeah.
dinner party, dream dinner party. You get 5 invites to this dinner party. You're a Vanderpump historian. Your 5 invites have to go to 5 people from Vanderpump, past or present. What 5 people are you
Ooh.
inviting?
Oh my god. Okay. Gotta invite Ariana.
Okay.
I think that's just I want to talk to her. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I need the truth. But there's also like a way of looking at this. Look, I'm going to go messy on it, right?
Okay.
I'm going to go a dinner party that they have to go to, they're contractually obligated to go to,
Yep.
and they're going to say this is the new show because it's going to be so uncomfortable. I want Ariana there. I want Rachel Leviss there.
Oh, you are messy, Vanderpump Robs.
I want Sheena there. So that's 3. I get 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got to bring people from the new cast. So I think I would want Audrey and Natalie there.
That's cute. I like that. You said none of the guys are getting an invite
Oh no,
for.
I don't need to hang out with them.
So we got Ariana, Rachel, Sheena, Audrey, and Natalie. That
Yep.
is your dinner party.
Messy.
Very, very messy. I like the mix of the new and the old school. Like I could totally see Ariana maybe like pulling Audrey. I feel like Ariana and Audrey might vibe a little
I
bit.
think they could vibe for sure. I think Sheena and Natalie might vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Rachel will provide a sound bath and apologize to everyone.
She totally would. I
Yeah.
love that. But yes, Rob, thank you so much for coming to chat with me on Channel Surf. I had so much fun.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. And of course, people can find my podcast wherever they listen. And if you like this, you're gonna have to come on the show sometime soon.
Of course I will. And you beat me to it. I was gonna tell you to tell them how they can find you and
Ah,
follow you, but you're a pro at this. You know how it goes.
of course. Yeah, Vanderpump Robs is the podcast. It's the Instagram handle. It's everything. But also, I should say that I do have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/Vanderpump Robs, where everything's ad-free, video, and bonus episodes. So like all of our Southern Charm coverage is on Patreon.
Oh, love that. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my all things VPR chat with Vanderpump Robs. Like I said, the Vanderpump historian. If you want more Vanderpump stuff, more Southern Charm stuff, make sure you go and follow him on socials and go and subscribe to his podcast. Subscribe to that Patreon too if you got a little bit of the coin, because I promise you it is worth it. And make sure you guys come back next time because I will be back with another one of our favorite creators talking about another TV show. See you next time. Bye.